Okay, so we've already learned how to create two scatter plots simultaneously, right? And we've learned how to find two regression equations simultaneously. So we really learned a lot in that last video. So the next question is, how do we find the intersection point? And what I'm going to teach you actually works no matter what kind of equations they are. They do not have to be regression equations, right? If I've got time, I'll show you with another set. Okay, so let me see here. So if you remember, we had in y equals, we have these two equations sitting in there. We have this lovely graph, right? Now I'm going to go to y equals, and I'm actually going to turn off the plots because we really don't need them, and they just kind of get in the way. So I'm turning off the dots. So I'm still going to have the lines, but I turned off the dots, the scattergrams. So I press graph. There are the two graphs. Now we have a problem. If you want to find an intersection on the calculator, you have to have it on screen. It has to be that the intersection point is viewable in the viewing window. And it's not here. I mean, you can see this line's coming up, this line's coming down, but they're going to meet way over here. So you have to go to the window and you have to start adjusting. Let's try 25. Enter. Let's go back to the graph and see. All right, I'm getting closer, but they're still not touching. So I go back to the window again. And you keep trying and trying and trying until you find one where they meet. Yeah, they meet right there, but it's so close to the edge. You know what? I'm going to go back and make it 50. See, so you can have to go back sometimes lots and lots of times. And I didn't have to mess with y at all on this one because I could tell my y values were high enough, but sometimes you have to change the y values too. You have to keep going until you find that intersection point on the screen. Okay, now I've got it on the screen. So I'm going to hit second calc for calculate. And this is the graph calculate menu. Do not confuse that with the stat calculate menu. Stat calculate runs these calculations off of the statistics you've entered. This calculate above your trace button is running calculations off of the graph because these 5 buttons are all dealing with the graphs. All right, so what we want is number 5, intersect. You can either get that by going down, 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 down until you hit 5 and then press enter, or you can just press 5. That'll work. All right, now this actually looks tricky and it takes a lot of language to explain, but it's not hard. So what happens is the cursor, which is that blinky guy in the middle, he automatically starts off in the middle of your screen for the x values on the first equation that it has, which in our case is y1 because that's the first equation we typed in or had stored. So it's sitting there, y1, blink, 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 and saying, is that your first curve? Well, sure, yeah, that's the first curve I want it to look at, so I'm going to press enter. Right? Then the cursor automatically hops to the second equation it knows, which in this case is y2. Right? It's saying y2, right? You can see it up here at the top left. It says y2 equals blah, 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 blah. It's saying, is that your second curve? Well, sure, so press enter. The reason it's asking that is sometimes you could want the intersection between 2 lines when there's 7 of them on the screen or something. So it's annoying, but that's just how it is. Now, it wants to know a guess. For the linear stuff, it's kind of pointless because there is only one intersection point. But when you get to later problems in later chapters, there might be more than one. So what that means is you have to move the cursor left and right, in this case right, to get the cursor closer to the actual point of intersection. Right? So you get it kind of close enough, and then you press enter. And there you go. And it finds the intersection point. Easy as that. All right, I think we've got time. Yeah, we do. So let's do another one. So let me go grab the notes. And we had this one to begin with in the first problem where it was 2x minus 1 and negative x plus 5. So let me go back to the calculator. Let me clear this. I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to clear out these old equations, these old regression equations. I'm going to type in 2x, what was it again? Minus 1. All right, 2x minus 1. There it is. 2x minus 1, enter. And then negative x plus 5. Now use the negative symbol. You don't want subtraction there. You want negative x plus 5, I think it was. Yep. Okay. So then I can graph it, right? Well, yeah. So your graph is dealing with what you had from that story problem, which is not suited to this anymore. So the quick way, remember, to get a normal kind of regular window is to zoom 6, which is ZoomStandard. So if you hit zoom 6, it'll make like a normal regular window for you to work with. It might not be on screen, but, oh, and this one is. So, but if it's not on screen, it gives you an easier screen to adjust than the crazy one we had before. All right, but you can see it. It's at 2, 4 maybe? Oh, well, let's find out. So calculate, intersect. Yes, that's my first curve, so enter. Enter, that's my second curve. Yes, I'll get kind of closer to the intersection point and press enter. And there, oh, it was 2, 3, see? Now, if it works out whole number wise, you can actually spot them in the table, which you can't when it's story problems usually, because story problems don't have whole number answers, and the tables tend to work off of whole numbers. There are ways around that, but it's more tedious than it's worth. All right, so you can see 2, 3, 2, 3. They're both at the point 2, 3. So that's another way you can spot it. But again, the table only works if it's whole numbers. Oops. And when you click graph, by the way, you can see, oh no, the intersection's gone. Well, that's all right. You just got to redo it. So second calc, 5. Yes, that's the first curve. Yes, that's the second curve. Yes, that's a guess. The cursor stays kind of in the same spot it once was. So that's all right. It just makes it easier. You just press enter, 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 as you can see over here in the key press. And there it is. All right, we're all done with that. You now know how to find an intersection point, and you will be doing it pretty much throughout the course, but with sometimes trickier problems.